So now I'm going to turn it over to Jamie, and she's going to be talking to you guys about confidence tonight. She is a diamond coach. She joined me in 2011 for it was my January challenge group. It actually started right after the new year, so it would have been January 2012. Started as a challenger doing Les Mills pump, and she was referred by a friend to me that I went to college with, my college roommate, and she was the shy girl in the group. She would message me personally, but never really super confident or outgoing. Joined as a coach and was quiet all the way until last year when she went on the Success Club trip, Success Club cruise, and really just had some life-changing experiences. So she is going to share with you guys today how she's overcome a lot in her life, has developed confidence, and honestly is rocking her business. Her team is growing. She's advancing. She's, running her own team calls, her own business opportunity calls, and she's just an amazing person. So go ahead, Jamie, take it over. We're excited to have you on the call tonight.
Thank you, Melanie. I can't tell if they can hear me or not because the chat's on, but
yep, you're good. I can hear you.
All right. So thank you for that. So I just wanted to say that, one of the topics we're going over tonight is stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's funny because that's how this call here was born. I was on the phone with Melanie going over my 2015 goals, and I spit out like 20 of them in a row and was all excited. And then at the end, I kind of slipped in, I have one more, but I'm afraid to tell you because that means that I'm going to have to do it. And so I told her that a big scary goal of mine was to do a dream team call. And just like I thought, like right then and there, we set a date tonight, and it was real. So notice that being here tonight, I am stepping out of my comfort zone, just being on this call. And thanks, Melanie, for that. So I think it's important to share with you all a little bit about my past. I grew up the shy kid in class, but I'd say it went way beyond just the shy kid. I find it, so important to be completely aware of how you speak around children. And I practice this with my niece and nephew because they really do pick up on like everything you say, and it just sticks with them sometimes like for their entire life. And so somewhere at a young age, I learned that what I had to say didn't really matter. And so I spent my childhood kind of tiptoeing around, everyone else and making sure other people were happy, but I never really focused on myself. And I wouldn't speak in front of people. If I spoke, I was whispering, and it had to be to somebody that I trusted. It was usually my mom. And I'm not sure if any of you listen to the Shailene Johnson podcast, but she always talks about people who are like so lacking of confidence that it makes other people uncomfortable because it makes them feel like they need to take care of that person. And I'm pretty sure that me always whispering was not comfortable for others. And so, yeah, I was that person. I totally made everybody like extremely uncomfortable. I got F's in college because my social anxiety stopped me from giving presentations. I'd rather take an F than get up in front of everybody. And I was totally that person that would skip the first day of class so that I didn't have to participate in those icebreaker games. And if I happened to be caught in one, I would seriously, like, the whole time they went around the room, for some reason I was always the last one. And the whole time I'd just be like sweating and freaking out. And then my turn would come and my throat would close and I don't even know, I'd mumble something out and I'd just feel like an idiot. But it basically came to a point where my confidence was so low that the only time I felt comfortable in this situation was after like 5 drinks. And that kind of became the only thing that I was proud of. I was little as hell, but I could drink the guys under the table. And I mean, as cool as that was back then, it's really not a good look at all. So I could go on about this probably all night, but let's just say that my entire life was affected by my social anxiety and my low self-confidence, so much so that there were times I didn't even want to live. Let's move forward on that note. So fast forward through a lot of uncomfortable situations and years of me hiding in the back of the room to me joining one of Melanie's challenge groups. And, it was the initial group that got me started on the journey to feeling more comfortable in my own skin. But I'd say it was coaching is what completely pushed me to the next level. It felt good to do something that I was proud of. And I decided that I was going to do everything it took to be successful with this business. But that was going to mean a lot of personal growth, a lot. And so, I was listening a couple months ago to the Dream Team call that Miguel was doing for us. And something he said that night really resonated with me. He said that out of all the top coaches in the company, there was one common trait that they all had, and that trait was confidence. And I had just at that time been really recognizing that my own confidence was soaring. And I was really trying to figure out what it was exactly that got me to that point, so then I could go and share that with my team. And I realized that for me, there was a strong correlation between my increased confidence and making myself step out of my comfort zone, and then also really focusing on my personal development. So I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I was a coach for an entire year before I made Diamond. Melanie kind of said I kind of just sat back for a while and took it all in, and I didn't do much because I just wasn't willing to step out of my comfort zone. Melanie would have team calls, and my anxiety would stop me from attending because I legit had this fear that for some reason I'd be singled out. And this was back in the day when there were 25 people on the call. It wasn't hundreds of people on these calls. So, I mean, it's not like I'm that crazy. There was a chance I could be singled out, but it really wasn't going to happen. And when she spoke about personal development, I'll be honest, it was not at the top of my list. It wasn't until I became so unhappy in my job that I finally decided, I really need to make myself uncomfortable and go for this full time and make personal development a priority. And as soon as I did that and incorporated at least 30 minutes a day, I began to see major changes in my personal life, in my confidence, and I began to see myself as a leader. So basically what I'm saying is, to move forward in this business, you need to be confident. And to be confident, you need to step outside of your comfort zone every single day. And you also need to focus on your personal development. And, when I started addressing confidence and really focusing on that in my business, I saw huge growth in my business. I saw myself as a leader, and so I became a leader. My leadership skills improved, inviting became easy to me, and my coaches started rank advancing. My team morale, I'd say, is at an all-time high. I saw a few of them on here tonight supporting me. And I truly believe that's because of the confidence that I have in myself, but also the confidence that I have in my team. Once I had that confidence in myself as a leader, it really trickled down into every single part of my business, from my own Success Club points to, my team reaching Success Club and growing into leaders themselves. So I wanted to share with you all tonight 3 things that I focused on and that you can all focus on to increase your confidence. They're just 3 little things. I think they're very simple, but before I focus on them, they seem hard, but they're not. So the first thing I wanted to focus on was positive thinking. If you change the way you think, you will change the way you feel and the way that you live. I was just wandering around with a head full of negative thoughts and always assuming the worst, because my brain was just trained to do that. But just like we changed our habits associated with health and fitness, we can change our thinking habits as well. Because that's what it is. When you think like that, it's a habit. Your brain is in the habit of thinking negative things. So one thing I did to change this habit was I really started focusing on the way that I was speaking to myself. How are you speaking to yourself? Would you speak to your mother or your daughter or your niece or whoever that way? And if you wouldn't, stop. Stop putting yourself down and stop being your own worst enemy. Anytime you begin to say something negative in your head, stop yourself dead in your tracks and replace it with a positive thought. Stop telling yourself what you're not good at, and start telling yourself areas that you can focus on improving. So make a conscious effort to change how you speak to yourself and be nice, because we are all a work in progress, and that's okay. That's life. That makes you real. That makes you just like everybody else. So be nice to yourself. Another thing I do is I end each day thinking about all the things that I've accomplished that day. Before I fall asleep, I think about 10 good things that I did. And I made an effort to change my thoughts from everything I didn't do to the things that I did do. And, they don't have to be anything crazy, because my list is kind of just like, I did my workout, I wrote a blog post, I made someone smile, like little things, but tell yourself the good things that you did, because even little things deserve to be recognized, and you deserve to recognize yourself for the positive. And the last thing with positive thinking that I think you all should incorporate is look up and smile at people. I used to walk around with my head down, thinking the worst of everybody. Not only is life much better when you smile and have conversations with strangers, but you never know who will join your team from it. And an example I have of this is I was getting on a flight home from Nashville on Southwest. And for those of you who know Southwest, you know that you don't choose your seat. And I had slept the day before, and I was like the last person to get onto the plane. And all that was left were middle seats. And I looked up, though. I looked up and I smiled, and there was this old couple like waving me over to come sit with them. Normally that would freak me out, the old me. I'd keep walking, but I did. I went and I sat with them. And instead of putting on my headphones and sticking my head in the book like I would normally do, I had a conversation with them the entire flight. And from our conversation, we found that their daughter loved at-home workout programs, and they had wanted to get us in touch with each other. So we exchanged contact information, and 2 weeks later, I got an email from their daughter, who is now a coach on my team. And, if I had kept my head down like the old Jamie would have done and assumed that no one wanted to talk to me, I wouldn't have Rachel on my team, and that would really suck because she's awesome. So keep that head up and smile at strangers. The next thing that I want you to focus on to increase your confidence is your comfort zone. You've got to step out of your comfort zone. We all know that, but I'm going to ask you to actually schedule that time in, like a meeting or a call that you have to attend. Yeah, I have Fearless Fridays every Friday, and that's my time to make myself do something that is outside of my comfort zone. And that is in addition to the daily activities that push me outside of my comfort zone already, because I do them daily. But I save my big ones for Friday. And just like you're a leader in your challenge groups and a product of the product, I find that not just talking about it, being about it for my team by publicly stepping out of my comfort zone every Friday on my life page shows them that I am in it just as much as they are. And, I would love it if all of you would participate in my Fearless Fridays. And if you do, tag me in your post, because, when I see other people doing it, it pushes me even more to do it. There's been a couple days I forget, and Rachel or whoever will tag me in a post doing their Fearless Friday, and it gets me on my game too. So if you do a Fearless Friday, tag me in it. I'd love to see it. I found that a big difference came for me when I stopped talking about things and started, being about them, which should be obvious, but you really have to be honest with yourself. Are you really pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone? Are you going after that big, scary goal? And for example, I'm somebody who has social anxiety, like I talked about. And this year I put it out there that I'm going to perform my rap if they have the Beachbody Talent Show at Summit in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. And that for me is a big, scary goal. It's something that scares the absolute crap out of me, but I publicly announced it, and guess what? Now I have to do it. So that's another thing. You should publicly announce things if it scares you, because then you're held accountable. But doing things that have made me extremely uncomfortable over the past year has really made me stand out as a leader, even like outside of Beachbody in my hometown. My father just told me this past weekend that wherever he goes, people come up to him and just let him know that they've seen me on Facebook or wherever, and that it's really cool what I'm doing. And it makes me think, if I didn't step out of my comfort zone and I just stayed comfortable, I wouldn't be reaching all of those people. And that's what this is all about, isn't it? You want to reach as many people as you can. And if you want to reach people, you have to get uncomfortable. There's no way around it. You just got to do it. Don't worry, we're here for you too. So the last thing that you can do to help improve your confidence is personal development. And I'm not just saying do your personal development. I'm saying make it a priority. Don't just go through the motions. Make it a priority. And, it's what's going to develop you as a coach and a leader, but it's also just going to make you a better person and grow as a person in life. And like, who doesn't want that, If you don't like to read, you can listen to it in your car or on podcasts. I listen to podcasts while I'm in the shower. I put my headphones on while I'm vacuuming and I listen to it there, or while I'm waiting to go into an appointment. It's right on my phone. There's a little purple button that says podcast, and they're free. And I found that the Shailene Johnson, she has some really great podcasts on developing confidence in her Shailene Show podcast. And she also has this new program called the Courageous Confidence Club. I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but it is on my list. And I know that if it's anything like the podcast of hers regarding confidence that I've been listening to, it will be well worth it. So totally look into that, Courageous Confidence Club. But some other podcasts I like to listen to is a new one, Sean T. That's my boy, Define Your Life. And there is another one that was recommended to me by my new buddy, Casey, on the Dream Team. And it's called The Life Point Church. And I bring this one up specifically because the fact that I even listen to it shows how far I have come as a person. And that's because in the past, I had low self-confidence, and I would always assume that people weren't going to like me for whatever reason. And religious people in particular, they used to scare the crap out of me, and I would avoid them at all costs. No offense to anybody, it's going somewhere good, I promise. When I grew in my own confidence, I didn't care if somebody wasn't going to like me for personal differences. So I talked to everybody. And doing that, I realized that the people, that I thought weren't going to like me, they weren't like that at all. It was me. I was judging them. It wasn't the other way around. And so becoming more confident has helped me open my eyes and speak to new people that I would never have spoken to in the past. And, because I needed to get over my own shit, and I needed to make these connections. And I'm not going to lie to you, like, life is so much better that way. So I'm just saying, in my personal case, I was making things up in my head because my confidence was low, and I was assuming things of other people, and that's not fair. You gotta open yourself up and talk to everybody. Who cares if they don't like you? Just be you, and that's what you gotta do. So, personal development paired with stepping out of your comfort zone and positive thinking. Altogether, it will bring you to a new level of confidence, which will lead you to a new level of success for you. When you start feeling confident as a leader, your team will start being confident in you as a leader, which will lead them to start becoming leaders as well. And for the most part, we all come to these calls because we want to further our business, right? That's why you're all in here. And I honestly believe that Miguel had it right when he said the one common trait that all the successful coaches in this business have is confidence. And so tonight you have a choice. You can either, say you're going to take action to gain confidence and then continue to go through the motions, or you can take the bull by the horn and you can make yourself uncomfortable and start becoming the leader that you're meant to be. I don't think it's a mistake or a fluke that any of us are here right now. That may just be, that's me. I don't think anything's a fluke or a mistake. I think we're all here for a greater purpose. But the difference is that some of us will follow through on that purpose and others will get left behind because they don't want to make the changes necessary to grow. So it's up to you what you become. So tonight I'm going to ask you, don't just be a collector of information. I want you to actually take action and do what you need to do to become more confident. And the biggest thing I did, to push myself out of my comfort zone was attend the Success Club trip last year. That was a big deal for me. I was stuck on a ship, social anxiety in the middle of nowhere, in the ocean, so no way to escape. And I didn't even get to bring somebody I knew. I brought somebody in my downline I didn't know very well. All these things just equaled anxiety for me. But I will tell you, it's the best thing I ever did, and it pushed my business forward. So what are you going to do is my question. So after this call tonight, I invite you all to either, post on my wall or send me a personal message and let me know, one, what you took away from this call, and two, what big scary thing are you going to do? That way I can hold you accountable to it. And, I like to hear it too, because it makes me push myself harder when I hear what you're doing. So I look forward to hearing from you all and pushing each other outside of, your comfort zones in the near future. And thank you, Melanie, for having me on tonight. This was a goal of mine, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
You did an awesome job, Jamie. All right, I enabled the chat so you guys can chat. So can you, Jamie, can you